Welcome back. This is our second study on the book of Ruth. We're going to begin today in Ruth chapter 1, verse 3. Now Elimelech, or Elimelech, my God is king. Remember that? He is Naomi's husband. And it says in verse 3, now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her two sons. So not only did he take his family down to the nation of Moab to live there, to escape everybody coming to his house saying, help me, counsel me, give me money, help me buy food, give me food, things like this. He just up and moved his family out, and now he's got his family down in a foreign country, has no relatives there except his two sons, his wife and two sons, and he dies, leaving his wife Naomi and their two sons. The two sons had married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Machlon and Kilion also died, and Naomi was left without her two sons and her husband. So now the way that it was supposed to work in those days was when we have a widow, the two boys are supposed to take, the children are supposed to take care of the mother, not dependent upon the state. They probably didn't have any type of welfare program outside of Israel. So Ruth is dependent upon the two boys. The two boys have married. They've got their families of their own. However, we're never told that they have any children, the two boys. And so Naomi is dependent upon the two boys. Now, most likely, while they were living there for this period of 10 years, most likely they did not have a whole lot of income. They brought what they had with them from Israel. When they left Israel, they had a lot of money. Matter of fact, I read one commentary that said Elimelech was one of the richest men in all of Israel. That's why people depended upon him. And that's the way we are today. We think naturally, we generally think that people that have lots of money, that have lots of things, are very smart. That they have learned to build a empire or a system or build a business or whatever to make a lot of money. So they're very smart. But he was not just smart. Elimelech was not just smart in business. Elimelech was one of the great spiritual leaders of Israel. If you were really God's man for the hour, why would you not listen to God? Your name says God is my king. My king, the king directs you. And so why didn't he listen to God? Now it's easy. It's really easy these days. We've got the scriptures. People ask me all the time, well, how come they didn't realize what was going on? They did not have Facebook. They did not have Instagram. They did not have newspapers. They did not have the myriad of books like those behind me. They didn't have a lot of this, but they had knowledge. They memorized scriptures. They memorized the Talmud. They memorized the oral law, things like this. And so he was a great counselor also. Not only did he have money. Now, it says after that they had lived there about 10 years down in Moab, we have that the two boys died. Um, and so that left Naomi, the mother, without any means of support. Um, and so now let's look at verse 6. When she heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, Naomi and her daughters-in-laws prepared to return home from there. So she has now heard that the famine is over in Israel. The crops are good again. We've got wheat, we've got barley, we've got cantaloupes, we've got onions, we've got different things. We've got food back home. So let's go home. Now, she and her husband did have relatives that still lived in Israel. We'll know that. We'll find that out later. But they had relatives there. It is incumbent upon the relatives to take care of the widows. Now, of course, the sons, they were supposed to take care of the widows. It's not like we have a lot of philosophy today about, well, once the kid is out of the house and they're on their own, you just let them go. And if they help the family out, they don't. Now, personally, I hear all kinds of stories. I hear about children that have abandoned their parents when they get old. They just put them in a nursing home and let the state pay for them, or they don't help them, or anything like this. I personally know a couple of stories of people that their children are quite wealthy, and their parents live in total poverty. They won't help them. And that is totally against the Bible. The Bible tells you that you're supposed to help your parents. And so Naomi hears that there is food back home. So she's going to go back to Israel. Now, she does not have anything to take with her. Her two daughter-in-laws are with her, and she says to them in verse 7, with her two daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. So here she goes. She's packed up all of her goods, and she is leaving Moab. She's got her two daughters-in-laws in tow, kind of, so to speak. And so she's going back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her two daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show kindness to you as you have shown to your dead and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." Now, it is said here that these two women, Ruth and Ophrah, really loved their husbands. How do you get that? Well, it says very plainly, may the Lord show kindness to you as you have shown to your dead and to me. So they really did love their husbands. They lived with them for 10 years. They had Naomi as a mother-in-law for 10 years. They were taking care of Naomi the best that they could. But Naomi is now going home, and she says to them, "You go back. You go back. You stay away. You stay here in Moab. And may the Lord bless you here. Then she kissed them, and they wept aloud and said to her, We will go back with you to your people. Both of them said, We will go with you to the land of Israel. You are our family now. You are the one that we're supposed to help take care of. And so even though she told them to go back home to stay there in Moab, they both said to her, We will go with you to the land of Israel. And so we'll pick up there in verse 11 on the next video.